September 11th was a horrific day in New York City and for the people of the United States of America. It impacted me and my friends the most because I was a New York City firefighter.
I went to an overpass and I saw smoke flowing out of the city, and I realized that it was real and that there were people dying, and I just got really scared, basically.
Rarely I saw faces like those in my life, and I will never forget.
First thought was run away, go north.
Most of those men that were killed were friends of mine or people who I worked with, so it had left a devastating effect.
Hearing the sound, I heard the vibrations deep inside me of the explosion, and I turned around and I saw the ball of flame, of fire.
I saw the city smoking, but I saw the people, they were not afraid of what was going on. I saw New Yorker like getting up in shape, working again, taking the train, driving, going back to work, because the city never stops.
Made me realize how quickly my life, our life, can change in a split second.
Like any other New Yorker that day, even if we witnessed that, I decided that life had to continue.
Everything seemed incredibly fragile. Everything seemed incredibly funereal. I went down to Nassau Street a couple of days after the event, and everything was covered with this white ash, almost like snow, and everything was amazingly silent. Nassau Street, which is one of the busiest, noisiest, narrow streets in town.
We lost our innocence. We were a great country, great people. We really trust each other. September 11 changed our life.
I saw the two buildings crumbling, and I couldn't believe my eyes. And not did I realize what had happened until a week later when I got back to New York and didn't see the Twin Towers on the skyline.
It's very difficult to talk about September 11th, even 10 years later, because the anguish and the rage are still there.
One of the positive results, I think, of 9/11 was the sense of comradeship or the sense of brotherhood, whatever word we want to give it. Remember in Europe, most of the European newspapers had the headline, "We're all Americans."
It is still a wound for all of us who were there that day.
Every time I go into Penn Station, I think this will be the next stop. There will be an explosion here someday and I will have to run. Every time. I never thought that way prior to 9/11. And now every time I go into Penn Station, I try to find the quickest way out.
A sense of threat was spread all over the world.
I really think that also that helped me to understand how much architecture and what we do symbolize as civilization itself, because it was an attack to civilization at that time.
How many other interests, how many, I would say, truly propagandistic ideas that have nothing to do with the victims and with the people who really suffered the attack have completely monopolized the public discussion on what should simply be a memorial and a moment of remembrance.
And I can say today, 10 years later, that certainly has had a huge impact as far as our liberties, as far as the way we think of the world and our own safety.
Only our old public payphone in the basement was still working as a miracle with quarters. And we made that available, especially to the people that were coming from what would be known later as Ground Zero, so that they could inform their families that they were alive and well.
This event has become a kind of a universal explainer. It's the allegory of our present predicaments in the minds of so many people.
10 years later, I'm still here in a different world, and I still cannot believe that the towers are gone.
It brought me back into the day Kennedy was assassinated. Same thing, you remember the exact moment.
You know, we live in times when our actions and the actions of the people we elect and the actions of the people we pay to do our dirty work come back to haunt us. And I think this is the biggest lesson I think I've learned.
New York reacted, and I was proud to be a New Yorker.
America has shown leadership. America is the future of this world. And if we want to restart from anywhere, we got to start from here.
It's definitely a sober moment for all of us, but it's also an opportunity to look at the future.
There's a certain degree of significance vis-a-vis the Italian American community. Somewhere in the amount of 320 or 330 Italians or Italian Americans lost their lives in 9/11. Of the 350 civil servants between firemen and also police officers, I think it's a good 130 who were of Italian ancestry. And this is something that we should also remember as Italian Americans, the sacrifice that this current generation of Italians in America have made in that moment, some of them being even Peter Ganci, who was the then chief of the fire department. So with that I say, let us remember the sacrifices that our sisters and brothers made that day, and let us go forward with a sense of camaraderie and a sense of brotherhood that existed in those months immediately after 9/11, and in this 10 years, let's try to get back to that sense.